But we did it over the lunch hours, and we're taping it for to go on YouTube so that those of you who weren't able to come to both or neither or at another campus can have a look and learn from our students and employees. My name's Katie Orr. I'm the International Director at NSCC, and it's my pleasure to welcome you and our blue ribbon panel of students, employees, and alumni to help us learn more about international learning programs at NSCC that are available, and also how it connects to our earlier panel, which was focusing on international and immigrant students at NSCC and how we can become more welcoming and understanding of other cultures. And I think that connects directly to the wonderful achievements that our panel and many others of you have done to take a leap to learn overseas. So I want to acknowledge a few people who put this together, and our small and mighty NSCC International team. So Zoran Kandali is in front. Ashley Pinson-Tobin. Kelly McMullen. We also have a student employee who is an international student, Cecilia Jorge Maciel. I think she has a class soon, but she's here for now. And she was on our previous panel. And also Lisa Matheson, who I think may have just stepped out. And Lisa was helping us put all the details together for today. And she's actually volunteering her time to be here today to make sure everything was working. So thank you, Lisa, if you can hear me. So to get started and to set the context, we have a couple of videos to show you. And the videos might make a couple of people on our panel squirm a little bit, and I'll introduce them after so that they don't have to be totally embarrassed, but they look absolutely fantastic on screen. I've watched these a couple of times, and they're very inspiring. So one of the things that I want everyone to have a chance to think about today is how can we encourage our students to take a leap, try something new, apply their learning in another country or context? Because that is one of the biggest obstacles that our students have to overcome in their education in general. Coming to NSCC can be a big step, but taking that to the next level and applying their skills overseas can be a big challenge and perceived as an obstacle. So the biggest impact that we can all make is to encourage those students to do so. And I want to thank every single person in this room who has already done that and encouraged their students to take on this adventure and this leap. So thank you all. Let's start with a round of applause for all of you. Thank you. And thanks for taking the time to learn. So let's hear it from the students themselves.
My name is Adrian, and this is my journey. I was born and raised halfway around the world in the Philippines, in a city in the north of the country called Baguio City. I immigrated to Canada with my family, arriving in Halifax in 2014. I'm a single mother to my daughter, Kiana, and she's the most important thing in the world to me. Last year, I decided to enroll at NSCC in the Business Administration program. And for me, this felt like the right step forward. When I heard about the Doing Business in Europe summer school in the Netherlands offered to NSCC students, I applied immediately. This experience would bring together my passions for travel and learning new things. I took the opportunity to study abroad to show to my daughter that women can achieve anything they put their minds to. I wanted to prove to her that I had done something to make my life better. I believe that lifelong learning and taking both personal and professional risks are important in order to grow, and I want to instill these values in my daughter so she has the chance to go as far as she wants in life. I'm Adrian Motas. I go to NSCC Ivany campus, and I studied abroad in the Netherlands.
My name is James, and this is my journey. It was tough, but I'm not ashamed to say that because of my life circumstances, I wasn't able to attend high school as a teenager. As the years passed, I carried with me my personal feelings of shame and regret. When I finally had enough, I turned to NSCC, enrolled in the adult learning program, and began taking the courses I needed to attain my high school diploma. I heard from my faculty the opportunities to study abroad with NSCC, and it didn't take a lot of convincing for me to decide to go for it and apply for the Cultural Entrepreneurship Project in Grenada. It was the first time students from the Adult Learning Program were participating in these international projects, and therefore I put my heart and soul into it in order to make NSCC, the School of Access, and myself proud of the work I would accomplish. When preparing to travel abroad, I always research the country I'm going to, about any laws or regulations it may have against homosexuality. My heart fell when I realized it was illegal to be gay in Grenada. The biggest barrier I had to face was the fear of being myself. With the support of my family and NSCC, I learned that if I focused on the project and relied on the guidance of my teammates, I could overcome my anxieties and be successful. This was my first real endeavor in a post-secondary world, and it was worth every second of it. I went to Grenada with an open mind, and I was ready for change. What I got was a life-altering experience that I would advocate for any other NSCC student to do. Just go and learn. I mean, what do you have to lose? My name is James Ferris. I went to NSCC Akerley campus, and I studied abroad in Grenada.
Fantastic. Thank you guys for sharing your experience, and we're going to hear more from you, and thank you for being brave, for being on a panel where your video is being shown. I definitely wouldn't do that, and I didn't tell you that beforehand, but nobody wants to see me up there. So our panelists today to help us learn more about why international learning is important and impactful and what we can do to encourage more of our students to take advantage of the opportunities. We have at the back Gord Wilkie, faculty in electrical engineering technology at the Ivany campus, and he's been involved in 3 projects, international projects so far. The Weather Station project in Grenada, Tanzania Solar Project, which is an award-winning project, and the Energy Efficiency in the Built Environment project in Ireland and the Netherlands. Thank you very much, Gord. Beside Gord is Luella Chesson. She is a faculty in business administration here at the Ivany campus, and was a leader with establishing Enactus here, which many of you have heard about for social entrepreneurship, an amazing group. And she was involved in 2 projects as a faculty team lead, social entrepreneurship in Vietnam and women in entrepreneurship in Peru. In the front row is Adrian Motas. Adrian, we know who you are now. Second-year business administration student from the Ivany campus, doing business in Europe and the Netherlands, as you heard. And Adrian also is an immigrant student in Nova Scotia, and she's made her family here, brought her family here. And so we're really proud of her. You really bridged the 2 sides of what we're looking at today. Thank you, Adrian. And James Veris, who you also met on screen, is a graduate of the Adult Learning Program from Akerley campus. Congratulations. And is now working for Virgin Mobile and was telling me about his plans for future post-secondary study. Congratulations, James. Shaylin Macaulay, I should mention, I think you know he went to Grenada through the Cultural Entrepreneurship Program. And I should mention that this year was the first year that we had Access students at the encouragement of the Dean of Access to open them up to Access students, and we did have some wonderful students participate, and they can again this year, so we really encourage that. And finally, Shaylin Macaulay, who is a PR grad from this campus and now working as a philanthropy coordinator for the Red Cross, and was here at this campus, Ivany campus, when she did the Social Entrepreneurship in Vietnam project. So thank you all. So the way it's going to go is we have a few questions, and we've tried to focus them on the faculty and student perspective, but I think there may be some crossover. We'll see. And so I'm going to start with the faculty. And I asked Gord if he remembered the question that we asked, and he said he didn't. And then I showed the question, and he said, well, I can't read that. I don't have my glasses. So you're going to see a spontaneous reaction from Gord. And that is the best way, anyway, if you know Gord. So, Gord and Luella, why is it important for NSCC employees, faculty, to participate in these programs?
Good question. Now, the previous panel, Wendy said that she started here when she was 12. I didn't start till I was in my 40s. So, it means, though, that you come with experience, and that when you're here, you gain more experience. And I would encourage anybody on professional staff in NSCC to apply for these roles. They're absolutely amazing. The 3 things I would say that I get out of this was the students I've taken abroad, I'm still in contact with, and you see the impact that it made on their lives and how their families and how their careers and how their confidence all grew. Second is myself. You add experience, and I am more of who I am today because of the experience I've got with NSCC International, and that team is amazing. You can go, I want to say out of your comfort zone, but you can go anywhere in the world and feel like you are supported. You have all of the tools you need, which then allows you, of course, to do even better job. And the third thing is that when I come back to the classroom after being abroad, I take all this experience back in the classroom. And that inspires other students. And I've been talking to every year students to go abroad, and I come in with my side of what happened and what happened to the students. So you have a positive spin on promoting the programs to keep continuing. Also, when you're in the classroom and somebody says, well, why would I want to know that today? And you can give them a perspective from North America, you can give it from Europe, you can give it from Africa, you can give it from the Caribbean. So by doing this, you enrich yourselves and you really do help build your own character and your own experiences. So thank you, guys.
Awesome. Good to know. Luella.
Gord, I think, stole all the thunder, but that's okay. I'm going to repeat a lot of what he said. I was actually speaking about this with another colleague who has gone abroad, and I was saying in terms of what we bring as staff and faculty to NSCC is usually past experience. And so regardless of how long you've been here, at some point your experience, your industry experience, could get a bit stale. So I think our value and our program quality here at NSCC is to encourage our faculty to always remain relevant. And just this week on our business environment course, we're talking about competing in world markets. So I was giving examples of being in Vietnam and being in Peru, and I was also able to travel without students to Austria. So all of those experiences come into the classroom, and I think I seem more relevant to our students, and there's an inspiration for them to learn and grow as well. So definitely my own relevancy and experience as faculty, as a teacher, is one of the main reasons. I also think that if you have a travel bug, it is the most unique way to travel. I think now if I ever traveled, it would be a bit boring. It's really rewarding to go and be hosted in that country by an academic institution or group. They're able to show you the best things that that country has to offer. So it was really great to be shown around Vietnam and shown around Peru by locals, and also feel like you were giving back. So if you're motivated by that, by community, and in order to give back, it felt very rewarding to travel that way. And the final piece, I think, just in my own personal growth and development, was my own skill development. So the experience and the relevancy in the classroom, but I also talked to students about employability skills, communication, problem solving, critical thinking. There's nothing like being presented with a challenge in a different language that you don't speak to sort of push you to the limits of, Shaylin and I are smiling at each other based on our experience in Vietnam. So it really pushes you to really grow and develop your skills. And when I think about Nova Scotia and I think about us needing to grow our own province around immigration and that intercultural communication, that happens at home. So now I feel like I can connect more with our international students, but all students, and hopefully help grow the Nova Scotia economy. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you. Excellent. So students and grads, now you get to top the faculty. How about that? Let's try. We have questions specifically for the students. So I'm not sure who came up with this question, but a nasty person. If a Nova Scotia taxpayer asked why they should support NSCC students studying abroad, what would you tell them? And this is specifically for James and Adrienne.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Adrienne, and thank you for the question, Katie. Taxpayers. Okay, I know pretty much all of us are taxpayers here. So basing on my experience, the skills that I pretty much gained going abroad was pretty much being developed. Most of the skills we already gain it here in school, and applying it into a different country is something that would really help us. Help us in adaptability, especially adaptability. If you have this skill of adapting into a different place, it's a great skill whenever you go for a new employment or looking for a job. And I know, and some other skills as well that you are able to gain for it. And that question regarding with how would how as a student going abroad would help from a perspective from a taxpayer, I believe because of this program, I'll just give an example. For example, we had marketing research from ACOA regarding with exports products in Europe. This is a good way exchanging economical information for the province to a knowledge for the province to use for it, and at the same time a business wherein we could enter in a different country or a continent. So I believe sending students in a different country is a way for an economy, not just here in Nova Scotia, at the same time in our country, for us to gain something from it. Thank you.
Thank you, Adrian. James?
I don't know if I can top Luella, Gord, and Adrian before me, but I'll give you guys, I guess, more of a personal aspect coming as a student. Studying abroad in Grenada, it taught me more about what it means to be my own identity as a Canadian. From the perspective of myself as a Canadian going down to Grenada, and then they see you as being otherworldly, whereas really it's like 2 cups of coffee, and to them it's completely unreal. Or when you talk openly about your own history that pertains to Canada, whereas there it is completely different. You don't speak about any of the culture or the history, right? So that's why we were going down to learn, almost to like bridge the gap. Now, I suppose I'm drawing a blank here a little bit, but I guess what I learned and what I bring back and what I would tell someone is if you go and you have the mindset and you have an open mind and you're willing to learn about that opposite culture and you're willing to let them in and you're willing to make yourself vulnerable, then I would strongly urge, if you have the resolve, to say yes to go and study internationally because of the benefits that you reap and the bridges that you build with this opposite country. Thank you.
Well said, James. So to be clear, too, Adrian participated in an ACOA-funded bursary program to do export market research, and that's a really important area that we need to do more of as a province to increase our exports. So that is part of what the intention that we have is. And James, I think that learning about ourselves helps us learn about others and, as you said, become more welcoming, Luella. And so I think that all connects. The students actually self-fund and pay for all their direct costs. We're very fortunate that the foundation, NSCC Foundation, hello Frank, supports the students and contributes to a bursary fund that also through the NSCC International Office we are able to contribute to through external funding to help support the students, but it's quite modest, so the students have to take that on themselves. But the capacity to do that and the willingness to do that as an institution is an investment through NSCC. So the last question that I have is for Shaylin. And Shaylin, now that you're a graduate and out in the workforce, we're asking, what skills did you gain through your experience abroad in Vietnam that helped you to get a job and succeed in that role that you are in?
Thanks for having me here today, and I really think it's not fair that now I have to try to top everybody. But when people talk about employability skills, oftentimes the first thing that comes to mind are those hard skills like creating an integrated marketing plan or proficiency in Adobe Creative Suite. But those are great skills, and you learn those in school. But I found that this trip internationally, I went to Vietnam. It really helped me develop some of those softer skills that are harder to learn in school. So I'll talk about 3 that I've found have helped me most in obtaining employment. So the first would be adaptability, and as I'm sure Luella could attest to, and to Kelly, we when we traveled to Vietnam, we really did not know much about what we were getting into. It was a brand new program. We were the first students to be there, and so what I knew going in is the length of my trip. We were staying at a university, and that we were going to be in Vietnam. So that was pretty much the extent of it. So being able to be kind of thrown into an environment of unknowns really helped me kind of let go of my type A personality and just kind of roll with things and being able to adapt pretty quickly. And that's something that is essential in the business environment today, being able to adapt. So the second skill that I found this trip really helped me work on was working with a diverse team. And so when we were there, we were working with Vietnamese students of the economics department of Tre Vinh University. And they were learning English, but definitely there was that language barrier there. And it really taught me that even though there is that barrier, that there's that language barrier there, it doesn't mean that you can't work together. So we found ways to get around that. Oftentimes we were sitting in the same room and we were using Facebook Messenger to write things out. And so because they could read better than they could communicate verbally. So, we found ways. We showed pictures to explain what we meant. And then the third skill that I have found most useful, and people may not see it as an employability skill, but it's a talking point. This trip is a huge talking point for me, and for me to be able to communicate with potential employers and my bosses about a passion and an interest that I was able to pursue, and to talk about the things that I was able to do there outside of the work we were doing. Like we got to go on a riverboat on an island called Unicorn Island, and we went to a sanctuary for bees, and I was fed all sorts of honey, and that was pretty cool. So being able to talk about these things really kind of helped me explain to employers what I'm interested in, what I'm passionate about, and for them to see that I was able to pursue that, it's a great talking point. So yeah, those are just some of the skills that NSCC International really helped me develop.
Awesome. Thank you, Shaylin. Thank you, everyone. Who else wants to go to Unicorn Island? I do. I think that you've really summed up the challenge and the opportunity that we have in front of us. And who here in the room remembers WordPerfect 5.0? Oh dear. Sorry about that. So when I was graduating from university, it used to say on job descriptions, do you remember this? Must be proficient in WordPerfect 5.0. Job descriptions don't ask for that anymore. That's a 20th century skill. 21st century skills, one of them is going to be adaptability and problem solving, working and communicating with other cultures, and international understanding. So these students and the faculty who are encouraging them and staff are really enabling us to have students who can apply their skills in another context. And that's really going to help Nova Scotia and Nova Scotians move into a new era of prosperity. And I really am so proud of all of you for taking the leap and encouraging your students to take the leap. And I think we're going to have an opportunity to recognize a few of the many who have encouraged students to take on this challenge with some awards right now, right, Kelly? And right now we are in the midst of a recruitment campaign for students for more than 20 programs in 10 countries, projects, summer schools, all kinds of opportunities. There are opportunities for employees as well. as well as our regular work with technical assistance projects overseas. So please check out our website and our Facebook site. I think the deadline for faculty right now is the 20th of October, so you still have time to apply. And for students, it's the end of the month, and we've already had students and employees applying, so please join the group. Last year we had a record number of about 110 students going abroad, and that is the most of any post-secondary institution in Nova Scotia, except for Dalhousie so far. So congratulations, Kelly, on that work. But we can do more. We can do more, and so I'd like to ask your help in doing that. So let's move on to the awards ceremony. So if Jeff and Paul, if you're still here, can come on up to the stage to help with the awards. Thanks to the panelists. Can we have a round of applause for the panelists? Thank you for being brave. Yeah. And Janet and Taylor, can you come on up? Hey, Taylor. All right, well, we're getting organized. So we have 2 awards. 3 awards. Best blog. So we have all of our students who do a study abroad program, and all of our faculty and employees complete a blog to reflect on their learning, because I think you can see that helps contextualize the learning that they have. And our international students do one of these as well. And the best blog this year is from Josh Andrews. So round of applause for Josh. As I mentioned, we have a small but mighty team, and so Kelly involves all of us. We interview every single student who applies for the programs to make sure it's the right one for them, and it's part of the process for them. For some of them, it's the first time they've ever done an interview. So sometimes it might happen that I complain about that I have to free up my schedule to interview all these students, and it's the best thing I do all year. So thank you, Kelly, for making me do that. So I got to meet Josh through the interview, and he is a student from Guysborough who wasn't able to complete high school. He struggled in high school, came to the Strait campus to do the adult learning program, changed his life, and while he was in his first year of study, he saw the opportunity to go to Ecuador, and he thought, well, I've never been out of these 2 counties, so why not go all the way to Ecuador and learn and try something new? And you can see the impact that it had on Josh, and I think it's absolutely fantastic that students like Josh are taking advantage of that opportunity. So our 2 other awards today, one is for student impact and the other is employee impact. And I'll tell you, this is very difficult. We had a lot of fantastic nominations, and we have wonderful people involved in our projects. We're very lucky at NSCC. So the Student Impact Award is awarded to a student who participated in an NSCC International Learning Program and demonstrated a passion for international learning and the impact of studying abroad before, during, and after their program. And I'm pleased, do we have a drum roll?
It's the employee award goes first.
Again, I'm wrong.
Thank you, Katie.
We can't mix that up?
No.
Oh, okay.
There's slides.
I'll leave you hanging. Think about who that could be. And we'll start with the Employee Impact Award. So similarly, it is also for an employee who has participated in an international LEDA program overseas and demonstrated leadership and commitment to international learning for students and brought back the impact of their experience back into the classroom. Is that okay, Kelly?
That was really well done.
So our award nominator, Erica Moose Saunders, was unable to be here today. So Kelly's going to read the citation for the award winner, who is Janet Hawkwood. Congratulations, Janet.
And if any of you do know Erica, there's no way in hell I'll do this justice. So I apologize for that in advance, Janet. So just picture Erica's smooth Bahamian voice coming across here, and it's just going to be me. So she said, I can think of no other employee more deserving of this award than Janet Hawkwood. I remember my very first day meeting Janet at the International Student Faculty meeting. She was one of the few lecturers present and immediately answered some of my most pressing questions. From that day on to this, Janet has been ever encouraging and fair and straightforward in her teaching and critique. In times of personal struggle, she has been one of my few people to give me much needed advice. And even though I've graduated, I still turn to her for advice and guidance. This act of kindness in making herself available is not just to me, but to any of her students. We know without a doubt that she has our back. And during my time at NSCC, I've seen her above and beyond to ensure that we have had all the opportunities available to us. In giving us connections to industry, professionals hustling to get us on set and find opportunities for us to work. The Tanzania program hit it out of the ballpark. Janet even fell ill for a brief time, and even then, she still managed to get up and go above and beyond. We had evening sessions after each day in Tanzania where she made it mandatory that we meet and talk about the day. These evenings were the perfect mix of sharing and a means to unwind and de-stress. No one is more deserving of this award than Janet Hawkwood.
Janet's on a learning leave, so she came in. She's not at work today. She's on her learning leave. She came in to receive the award. Let's do the photo. Thank you, Janet. Congratulations. So the long-awaited student award. I'm pleased to say the award winner is Taylor Ripley. Taylor, yes, let's give her a round of applause. Luella Chiasson is going to read the citation.
Thanks, Katie. So this is what I wrote about Taylor. From the very beginning of being accepted into the Women in Entrepreneurship program in Peru, Taylor went above and beyond, that's, I guess, a very common saying, to learn as much as she could about entrepreneurship, Peru, and the environment we would be working in. She was dedicated to bringing as much knowledge as she could to the group we would be working with, and was excited and eager for all she could learn abroad and from the experience. She was mature, responsible, energetic, hardworking, and displayed an empathy for the women we worked with that really resonated with them. Taylor wrote a speech while we were abroad, and she described her international experience as something that took her out of her comfort zone and her greatest learning opportunity while at NSCC. It is something she feels she would have never done before, and she credits her school, the school, her campus, and her instructors with pushing her to see that she was capable of more than she believed. I believe Taylor will push herself to learn more and do more moving forward because of her international experience.
So Taylor is a School of Business alumni from Cumberland campus. She came all the way down from her beautiful farm that I've had the pleasure to visit.
And Taylor will also be featured in one of those videos that you saw today earlier, so just wait for that. Taylor's also been the poster child of this whole campaign, so poor Taylor, your face is everywhere. Like, it's all over the place. It's on campus screens. It's on the table. Kelly, photographer here, did great work with that. So, poor Taylor. I'm sorry, Taylor.
Oh, it's good. So congratulations to the award winners. Thank you very much to the panelists. Thank you all for being here, for listening and learning. We look forward to your feedback. If you have ideas, you want to get involved, you want to learn more, please be in contact with the International Office or myself or any of the crew who are here. And I think Jeff wants to say the final word.
Well, just one last thing before everyone disappears. Speaking of awards, there's actually 2 more award winners in the room. Next month, the Canadian Bureau of International Education will hold their national meeting, which they do every year. And NSCC, 2 of our hardworking international managers, Zoran Kandali and Kelly McMullen, will both be receiving the President's Award from the Canadian Bureau of International Education for organizing all the stuff that you've heard about here today. So I want to congratulate them. It's a large national award, over 150 universities and colleges, heavy competition. These guys pulled it off in a squeaker, but we're so glad to have them here. So,
Okay. Thanks, Jeff. He wants to say something else.
No, for those of you that came down and traveled all across the province to be here today, thank you so much. I think we had a great day learning about NSCC International. I learned all kinds of stuff about student, faculty, staff engagement with our international program, and I want to thank everyone. Katie and I are supposed to be in another meeting right now, so we're probably going to leave fast. But everyone hug Katie before you leave and tell her how great today was.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody.